Welcome to the Finding Part-Time Employment Workshop. My name is Christine Addo, and I am the Student Employment Coordinator at the Career Center.
And my name is Marie Spaulding. I'm a Senior Career Advisor in the Career Center, and I work with the undergraduate and graduate students in the College of Arts and Sciences and the School of Education.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Scott, Director of Recruiting in the Office of Human Resources at AU.
In this workshop, we will discuss how to prepare, apply, and follow up on student employment opportunities. What do these terms mean? Preparation includes items such as resume and cover letter creation, interview preparation, and professional development. The steps you take to prepare will help set the stage for you to apply for positions. And throughout the workshop, we will share various platforms at AU that you may use to apply for jobs. Lastly, following up is a very important stage that many applicants forget to take advantage of. In this workshop, we will discuss how to follow up with employers and how to stand out among other applicants.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about resumes. The purpose of a resume is to capture what you've been doing up to this point, to give enough information and to get an employer to want to be in touch with you about an interview. Which means that you want to talk about your education, your life experiences, skills, and you want to give us some kind of detail. I'm going to attempt to share a screen right now. This is one of our resume templates, and this gives you an idea that the college resume is formatted a little differently than a high school resume. So do take a look at this template because this will help you when you convert your high school resume into a college resume. Okay. Next. The cover letter. Okay, the cover letter is very important. The cover letter needs to address the skills that that particular employer is seeking. Therefore, the cover letter must be targeted to each job. This makes a big difference. If you think, nobody wants to hear it, but if you think you can write one letter and you're set, that's really not true. And an employer can tell very quickly if you have not researched them and really looked at their job description. Next. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about online tools and resources. The link is live, so you will be able to get to these, but the one I'm going to talk about the most is called Big Interview. This is a virtual mock interview tool that you can get to through the link here, the top one. And once you have found that, it gives you have to log in through our website because there's a secret password. And once you're into Big Interview, you create an account. And when you're ready to start answering interview questions, you hit the left mouse and an actor who has pre-recorded interview questions will ask you a question and your web camera will capture your answer. There are two things about this that are quite useful. One is you can see if you are making eye contact. And the second aspect of this that makes a huge difference is you can hear how you actually answered that person's question. We can't hear you, Jennifer.
So as you're beginning to navigate your job search, it's important that you remind yourself that you have to apply early. Apply early, at least up to a month before you want the position. And just keep applying until you receive that job offer. Don't wait to hear back from someone, to stop applying. Keep applying until you really have that offer in hand. I can share that our peak hiring times So when we have the most positions posted for students are between July and August, and then again in December. So pay attention to those key influxes of hiring to make sure that you're putting yourself out there broadly by getting your application out to our on-campus partners and units. One way that you can find out what positions are, coming on board is to join our talent community and set up job alerts. So once you go into the A Successful You system through the Career Center, you can set up a talent profile as you're creating your application, and it'll ask you if you want to set up a job alert. You can just click yes, and then as new positions come on board in your interest areas, you'll get an email from our system to let you know that you can apply to them. Another thing is be willing to go off campus. AU is not your only stop for employment. You can also check out, different offices around AU. Different faculty also have suggestions and recommendations. There are different, all types of different employment in the DC area that you can take advantage of. So check off campus also as well. And then also check with your staff that you're working with and faculty that you're working with to see if they have any recommendations.
Next. Can't hear you, Christine.
The AU student job site is a central hub for student employment. You can reach the site by searching american.edu/student jobs. Here you'll be able to find information about upcoming fairs, applying for jobs, and connecting with your career advisors. So whether you're looking for campus employment or jobs, internships, or even babysitting or retail jobs, the AU student job site will take you right there.
Next.
So as we spoke about on-campus employment and submitting your application broadly, one of the things that you'll need to have for your application is, your educational history. Put the education that you've received, your high school diploma. If you had a concentration in high school, put that program in there. That's always helpful for employers to know. Also include your work and volunteer experience, any leadership experience that you may have. It's good, to share any type of work that you've done, outside of school to help employers get a better understanding of your experience working. Be sure to attach your resume and a cover letter. The resume is really helpful in helping employers get a little bit more information about you. So share that resume and include it in your application. That information that's included in the application is stored in our systems so that you can use it for future applications. So you don't have to submit a new application each time you apply for something. You have your one application and you just submit that across the many different jobs that you're interested in. Again, make sure you view our website at careers.american.edu so that you can see the new job postings that we post daily. We post about, at least 5 or 6 jobs a day, especially in our peak periods that I mentioned earlier or, during the summer and December. So be sure to check that site often for new listings. And also some departments you have listed below really do well with posting their positions and post a lot of positions during that time. And that's the university library, housing and dining, athletics and recreation, public safety, and also the orientation unit. So be sure to check out their units. You might want to reach out to make contacts with folks that work in those units if you're, deeply interested in finding a position with these folks. And then also be sure to check out their listings on careers.american.edu.
Next.
Federal Work Study is a federal sponsored program geared towards students who have completed their FAFSA and have been identified as a student eligible for Federal Work Study awards. AU's Federal Work Study program allows students to earn income through part-time employment with select employers such as on-campus departments, local nonprofits, and government agencies. The Public Service Work Study program is a program run through our office at the Career Center. Positions through the Public Service Work Study program are community service-based in fields such as human rights, education, social services, and the arts. This year, we are partnering with organizations such as Peace Corps, the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum, and CARE USA. DC Reads is a program run through the Center for Community Engagement and Service. Through DC Reads, students can work or volunteer as a tutor with employers in the DC area. The library is also one of our largest employers that hires students with federal work study.
Next.
This August, the Career Center and Human Resources will be hosting the annual Federal Work Study Fair. The Federal Work Study Fair is a great opportunity for students to meet and network with on-campus and off-campus employers that are interested in hiring students for the fall. The first day that Federal Work Study students can work is August 30th. Therefore, the fair is a really great opportunity to meet employers and potentially even land a job on the spot. The off-campus fair will be held virtually through Handshake on Wednesday, August 18th from 2 to 4 p.m. And again, this year we'll be partnering with employers such as Peace Corps and the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum, but also with nonprofits such as Kid Power and Raising the Village. And also for the on-campus fair, that will be held Wednesday, August 25th from 12 to 3 p.m. And that will also be held virtually in Zoom. And lastly, we have the virtual fall and job internship, which will be held Thursday, September 23rd from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. in Handshake.
Next. Okay, I have this slide, and what I'm going to talk about is some resources in addition to Handshake, where you can be looking for part-time employment. The first one is Quad Jobs, which is run by a third-party employer who vets the employers to make sure they're legitimate. You can find jobs in there that may be as a babysitter, taking care of pets, a lot of different things. And what I urge you to do is make sure you've registered with Quad Jobs. American University has a Facebook group. If you go into that and look for jobs and internships, you can join that group. And I urge you to do that because you will get postings of positions. Sitter City is a website for people who would like to help take care of children. Idealist is a site where nonprofits list positions. Indeed.com, you probably are already familiar with. It's a third-party aggregator that looks at a number of job sites and puts those job sites into one place. Craigslist, I'm sure you already know about. I have had students who did find part-time work on Craigslist. Snag a Job and all retail jobs are pretty much what they sound like. If you have experience working in retail or in a restaurant, you may well find some positions listed in there. And especially if you have experience already, you want to make note of any local venues that you might want to apply to. Metro Pets is exactly what it sounds like. I'm thinking a lot of you may be missing your pet from home. And if you would like to sign up for Metro Pets, there are people in our neighborhood around American University who are paying very high amounts of money for people to walk their dog, take care of their goldfish, you name it. And then the last one, DC Theater Tech Groups, it's a website where the theaters in the DC community will often list paid positions, particularly for people who might want to help take down a set or build a new set. Next.
So after you have submitted all of your applications, a common question that I always get is, when should I start following up on my submissions? We suggest that you wait at least a week after submitting your application to reach out to the departments or to follow up on your submissions of your application. You know, it takes some time for recruiters to go through all the applications that they receive. They usually receive, between 50 and 250 applications for each position. So, giving the recruiter a little bit of time to review the resumes is helpful. And then usually within a week, they have done some shortlisting to determine who's going to move forward to that next round. So we usually prompt applicants to reach out to departments or, recruiters working on the search, whoever is running the search, after a week of submitting your application. We recognize that it may take some time to figure out, who to write to or who to send the email to check in on your application. we suggest checking out the staff directory. Also, remember the department that you applied to. You might want to write them down as you're applying to them so you can keep track of all the departments, and then using the staff directory to send them an email to follow up on your application. Each organization does hire differently. Some people close out a search and they make an offer within a week, and some folks, it takes a couple of months, depending upon, what their needs are. So, just be patient. You'll definitely get a position, but it just may take some time.
Next.
In the visual repository, you will find helpful resources to assist you through the application and hiring process. These materials will help you through the interviewing process and once you've been selected for a job. Once hired, there are a series of paperwork and documents needed to complete your hiring paperwork. Federal law mandates us to record everyone's eligibility to work in the U.S. In order for us to do so, you must bring specific, original, unexpired documents to complete this documentation. Refer to the I-9 form and acceptable documents file in the visual repository for documents you must bring. As you begin working, keep in mind that whatever job you are doing, it is important that you are professional, reliable, and carry out your duties of your job as expected. These skills will help you now and in the future and will help build the competencies you will need in the future. The positions that you hold as a student may even lead to employment after you graduate. My first job after college was for an on-campus department that I previously worked for. Therefore, it's very important that you remain professional in all of your positions as it is an investment in your future. As a student employee, you are a student first. It is important to make sure you are managing your time with work in consideration of your coursework and for crucial times during the semester, such as finals. The visual repository includes a time management document that you can use to plan out your days to make sure you have enough time for your studies, your work, and any extracurricular activities you enjoy. Lastly, budgeting is a very helpful and important tool for you to learn and practice. Budgeting helps you track your spending and expenses to make sure you are working in alignment with your financial goals. As a federal work-study student, it is important for you to budget and track your earnings since your funds are capped. Budgeting will ensure you do not exceed your funds or run out of them too quickly. In the visual repository, you will have access to these slides and also to the documents that I've referenced. This concludes the workshop. Thank you for joining us for the Finding Part-Time and Employment workshop. We hope you were able to gain a lot of helpful knowledge. Please feel free to contact us if you have any student employment questions. I am typically your go-to for any off-campus federal work-study questions. HR will be your contact for on-campus positions, and Marie is your go-to for any questions for advising. However, we are all here as a resource for any questions that you may have, whether it's for employment or just questions around the campus. Again, thank you for joining us, and we cannot wait to see you on campus.